In the big Bilge tank, we'll keep you in the know. In the big Bilge tank, we'll fix your techie woes.
And we'll break things and we'll make things till we're all together raking and
We'll raise a cup of grog down in the big Bilge tank. In the big Bilge tank, come and join our pirate crew. In the big Bilge tank, we will show you what to do. And we'll hack it till we crack it.
and we'll tell the world about it and forget to tidy up.
That's why it's now a Bilge tank.
Hello and welcome to episode 023 of the Bilge Tank from Sheffield-on-Sea.
Hi.
Hello, Phil and Paul.
Yay.
We are not, by any measure, frantically setting up the demos that we're about to show you.
No, not at all.
Bear with us.
No. We're not pressing compile.
No, not at all. There
No.
we go.
Hey.
Okay. Today we're going to look at some accessories, but first, news on AstroPi.
Yeah, stuff we love. And Phil's headphones playing the audio.
I can hear the audio playing back.
Yeah.
I just noticed I was looking at the Raspberry Pi page, blog page for this, and I hadn't seen it before, but Fran Scott did the voiceover for this video.
Yay.
Awesome. We love
Yeah.
Fran, she's great.
Fran's good people.
Been to visit us before.
Yeah. Also blows stuff up.
Blows a lot of stuff up.
Distinct advantage. Yeah, I think she has kind of licenses to blow stuff up on stage with people around.
Yeah, it's very cool. Tim Peake has finally unpacked the AstroPi that was sent up before he was sent up. It went up on a cargo mission about 2 weeks before, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact days. About 2 weeks before Tim Peake launched to go up to the ISS. And is now being unpacked, and there's a little blog post on the Raspberry Pi website all about what they've been doing with
Very
it.
industrial. I love the little engraving saying up, down, left, right, A, B.
Well, in space, it's very ambiguous. What is up?
Space
What is
mega.
down?
Yeah, that's true. When you're floating this way, it's like, no, I can't remember which way's up.
I think that was mostly so they can play Super Mario.
Yeah, pretty
But,
much.
yeah, it does look very cool.
Yeah.
They are nice cases.
Snake
Yeah, NES
in
control.
space. That's what we want to do, right? Yeah. So the unit has been kind of tweeting as well and saying hi. They've got 2 units up there. One is up and running now.
Ed.
One will be deployed in 2 weeks.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's already running the experiments that were entered as part of the AstroPi competition. So that's kind of awesome. It'll be nice to see what results come back.
Yeah.
And your logo's in space.
My logo's
Again,
in space.
you say.
And it's on the
Logo
aluminium
all
thing
the
as
time.
well.
It's
So the
on-
astronauts
is
can
it
see it
Oh,
and just say, wow, that's a fine piece of design.
no, it is. Well, they probably haven't got
In
much better to
space.
do up there.
Yeah, well, they've only kind of got, IBM logos up there and stuff, really.
And NASA written on all the food.
NASA's
Yeah.
pretty cool, though.
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
it's iconic.
No,
And
it's
nice use of
very cool.
Helvetica on all their space shuttles.
That's it. So yeah, definitely go and check out the Raspberry Pi .org website. The blog post is linked right off the front page, and it's well worth a read. Okay.
Fantastic. Anything else?
That's it for us, I think, today for news.
That's the big news. So today we're going to go through some funky things, just basic add-ons for your Pi. A lot of things like how do you connect a hard drive, what are the limitations of power, what can you drive through a Pi.
Yeah.
So we're going to show you a bit of that via the medium of just typing stuff on the command line a lot.
Yeah.
So what have we got in front of us? We've got
A pile of stuff.
VGA dongles, Ethernet USB hubs, DVB-T dongles for looking at aeroplanes and hopefully watching TV, hard drives and SATA adapters, and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll be tinkering about with that just to show some limitations and just, I think a lot of people need that 101 thing really.
Yeah, this is all about kind of ways that you can accessorize a Pi to make it interface with other stuff. So like the hard disks, VGA monitors, networks, whatever it is you need to do to get your Pi up and running that works for you, really.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, what should we start with?
Do you want to start with the SATA adapter, Phil?
Yeah, let's start with the SATA adapter. We've got the serial packet demo unit here.
So yeah, we got this in
This
stock
is,
about a week ago because we thought all this time and we've not actually had an adapter just to plonk a hard drive cheaply and effectively onto your Pi.
Yeah. And we tested a few, and this one was by far the best. It's a really, really solid piece of kit.
You basically cut one open, didn't you, to see how robust it is? And
We did.
It passed the robust John butchering it test.
Yeah. Whenever we get anything like this, we take it apart and we have a look at how well it appears to be
Do you
manufactured.
have that on your desk?
It is. Oh no, we just tidied next door. It could be anywhere. I don't know. But basically, this entire end assembly is fully potted in plastic internally, so the whole thing is absolutely rock solid.
So they basically injection mould around it.
Yeah, the circuit board's in there. They then injection mould kind of like a clear plastic around that into a solid brick, and then injection mould the actual black shroud over the top of that.
Wow.
So it's incredibly strong. A huge amount of strain relief on the cables, and yeah, it's just really well made. It's
Yep.
lovely.
And it's
Lovely
got
bit of kit.
the two USB cables. Phil, if you just want to show those on the close-up camera,
That's
we'll have a look at those.
one that you plug into one side of your laptop and one that you plug into the other, as long as it's only 5 inches wide.
Yeah, but if you look at the colours in the end there,
Where are we? One is the
Yeah,
USB
there we go.
3, which is this one here, and the white one is the sort of thinner, inconsequential cable, which is designed for feeding in extra power. So if you've got a USB port that works within spec, which is very, very few USB ports these days, to be fair, then you can actually feed in additional power using this extra USB cable here.
Yep.
On the Pi, you just have to use this one cable, but to actually make the adapter work, you need to raise the current limit on your Raspberry Pi to 1.2 amps. Otherwise, there just isn't enough power to drive these dinky little hard drives.
Yeah.
It'll get limited down, and it'll do nothing much.
what's the command for that, Phil? Offhand.
There is a boot config text command for
Should I go
that.
up to that Pi, Paul, and we'll go and dig it out?
Yep.
I'll get rid of this.
Let's get a bit
You
of.
can open up boot config text, which hopefully will be the right boot config. Well, there should only be one. Boot config text. Go. So somewhere in this config text, you will find a max USB current towards the bottom. The old command
There
for
you
it was
go.
safe mode GPIO 4, which raises the current limit to 1.2 amps, and it does that by connecting an additional resistor in parallel to the input resistor of the current limiter. The old and busted method may work on old versions of Pi if you're staunchly not updating. New and shiny method does the same thing. All it really is physically doing is toggling a GPIO pin, which connects an additional resistor via a transistor to the current limiter, thus doubling the resistors that the current limiter is seeing, and then thus doubling the current limit, which
Yeah.
gives you 1.2 juicy amps.
To be honest, like I probably do this on pretty much any Pi setup.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously
and
they
there's
have
so
it
many
reduced
things
for
that you'll need
reasons,
this for.
but-
Flotilla, for example, you want that extra current
Yeah.
because you're going to be connecting motors and matrices and lights and shiny things, and just nice.
There's no real danger to doing this. It just means that you can use higher power devices with your Pi. They've disabled it, I guess, because it's just slightly out of USB spec. But so many devices will supply
These
out of
days,
USB
yeah.
spec power these days.
Par for the course, really.
And Pi tend to be very conservative about their default settings to make sure that everything runs very smoothly for everybody.
Yep.
But when you want to push it, it's a great setting to turn on.
But James has done so much wonderful work on the power circuitry for the Pi to make it kind of stand up to all kinds of abuse. That yeah.
Phil, do you want to
Have a look at. I don't think we'll have that installed. Oh, we do.
You asked for it to be installed?
Oh,
and
you
I
installed
installed
it.
it, sir.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much. So, when I use gparted to have a look at the very simple partition setup we've got here.
So this is like the
basically-
equivalent of like Disk Manager in Windows
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So this is the internal SD card we're looking at the moment. I haven't expanded it because I don't care that it's small. All I'm using on this internal SD card is the boot partition, which is this green one here at the beginning. So what that's doing is hitting the boot partition on the internal SD card. You need an internal SD card to boot your Pi. You're not going to boot it straight off a hard drive.
Mhm.
It just won't work.
You literally can't set up a Pi to boot off USB, can you?
No,
Because it had the video
not
core
possible.
automatically goes to the
SD and
card.
says, give me an image to boot from. So we put a basic SD card. This is running Jessie Lite, so it serves a dual purpose. You can use it to dual boot your hard drive, and you can use it also as a rescue boot partition in case you need it. So you can pull that SD card out, you can plug it into a host computer, change the command that tells it where to boot from back to the internal SD card, and then you can boot up from that SD card perfectly fine. You could also format the entire SD card to FAT or VFAT or something to that effect and use it to transfer files between your Pi and other things and all sorts of other stuff. But
Can you expand partitions from here?
I can expand this partition if I were so inclined, yes, so I could grab this partition. And this is what I'd do with the hard drive. So let's just go over to the hard drive and have a look. So you can see it's filled the entire partition. You can see there's also a little bit of dead space at the beginning of the disk here. That was the original boot partition, because what I've done to set up this hard drive is take Raspbian Jessie, the full image, downloaded from the Raspberry Pi website, and just use Win32 Disk Imager in exactly the same way as you'd write an SD card. And just write that image to the hard drive. And then I've fired up gparted, or in fact I used the Windows equivalent, I believe, to just grab that partition and just resize it all the way up to fill the entire disk. And once you've resized the partition, you have to boot it up on the Pi, and you have to type a command that looks a little bit like this. Resize to FS, and that'll be dev SEA1, because that's your hard drive. And that will say your disk is not long enough when resizing it to be the correct size. So that's what resizes the file system to fill the partition that you've just resized. So if we go back in gparted to the internal SD card, we can now grab that partition and we can say resize, move, and it's really simple as hey, it's not quite stay, go back there. Let's get the right.
There you go.
See, I haven't used this before. I've always used command line, but that's very similar to the modern resize tools that you get in
this
Windows and Mac OS.
This just runs the command line tools for you. Basically, it's just a fancy GUI to basically demystify all the command line nonsense. Which is, if you have the time to puzzle it out or you're following a guide, it's relatively straightforward to use. But this is just nicer and safer and makes you feel a bit more confident about
this is our demo Pi. So are you confident enough to resize this partition now?
Yeah, doing that.
Wow,
let's do it.
It's growing.
Tick. Are you sure you want to apply the pending operation? So this doesn't actually do anything to your disk until you click that little tick. And
you can stage a load of changes.
So you can stage a load
and
of
then
changes. So you can add partition. So let's say we don't want to resize it up to the full size of the disk. We can go back and we can say resize, move, and we can drop that back down. So let's say we want a little bit of growing space just in case we need some extra tools in there. So we'll make it about half the size of the disk. Most people will kind of type in a number here to pick a particular size, but
because geeks.
Yeah, geeks. Be pedantic. And then we'll stick a new partition off the back end of this disk, and we'll say it's a primary partition, and we'll make it FAT32 because we're bold and brave.
exFAT. We got exFAT.
Have we got exFAT in here? I don't know. If
it's blocked out.
Yeah.
exFAT tool's not installed, maybe.
Quite probably. Yeah. So we'll leave it as FAT32. So we'll add that partition on the back end of the SD card, and that will give us somewhere that we can back up files that we can then read. Hopefully on Windows, if you take that SD card out and you stick it in your Windows computer, you should see that partition. So we'll now say yay, make those changes, and say apply, and it'll go. So this disk is not actually presently in use, so we can do all sorts of operations on it.
So that's a good point, because actually putting an external drive in and kind of doing most of your work on the external drive is going to reduce the chance of those kind of SD card corruption errors when power cycles.
Very much so, although you may get external drive corruption errors when you power cycle. It's been a long time since I've actually used an external drive with the Raspberry Pi, and at the time, about 3 years ago now, there was a little tool that you could install that gave you like a boot selection tool. I don't know if that's been updated since or if there's any thing of that nature, but the great thing about an external drive is if you want to boot multiple operating systems like Mate and kind of Jessie and Wheezy and Arch and maybe a media center partition, you can stick them all side by side on your disk, and then you can have a menu which you
almost like Grub or Lilo or something
which
like
will
that.
let you pick which one you want to boot.
So is that increase the size of the buckets?
Sorry, I've just seen in the chat, Tom Kirby Green has said Pi Hut has more zeros, so they must have just gone in stock.
I thought they were going in at 6 p.m.
No, it might be 6 p.m, folks. Might be 6 p.m, but it's worth keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, 6 p.m. the Pi Hut, they've got their stock of zeros on sale, and I think there's a post on the official forums from Liz about the stock situation, so go check that out if you want to know what's happening.
Nope, we're talking to ourselves again.
I'm just trying to sign into chat.
So once you
also, you mentioned media centers. This is a great solution for media centers.
Well, it gives you loads of media space.
Loads of space to put your media, which is basically what you need.
Actually have to boot from it, but you'll probably want to boot from it because it'll perform a little bit faster, a little bit slicker. It's just generally nicer to boot from it.
Yeah, and the performance is a lot better than an SD card.
It is. Significantly when you do things like apt-get, update and upgrade.
Sorry.
Okay, we've resized that partition. Stop.
We just started it again. So Phil, you've increased the size of the partition, but you haven't expanded the file system.
No. So what happens now is we'll mount this file system and have a look at it. We know it's been increased to however many gigs it's been agreed to. It starts
looking
off,
at?
because it's Jessie Lite, at about 2 gigabytes. So if we then go and mount that partition,
what do you
it's
want
not
me to
mounted
do?
it for us. You want to mount MMC0P2.
Thank you. MC blue.
You can press tab at that point.
E2. Yeah.
And you won't have created a mount point there.
There's already a mount point in the thingy, isn't there?
Just
There you
mount
go.
to mount. So do another DF, and you'll see that that file system is reading. Oh, it's in fact
3.5 gig.
3.5 gig, which is larger than I thought Jessie Lite would install it. But now do a resize to FS on that file system. MMC.
Ah. So actually
You
use
want
the
to do
device.
Dev, you want to use the device. I think you can do a live resize. Simon says.
Yeah, you have to do CD dot.
Oh, okay.
nothing to do.
But, clearly, resizing in Gparted on here did the partition.
Yeah, you can see it's
the file
3.5
system
there,
resize
can't you?
for you. I resized in Gparted on my laptop and then transferred it over to Pi, and it didn't do the file system resize for me. So maybe it's Gparted version different or something of that nature.
Mysterious.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, all good. All you need to do is drag, slide out your slider, and your disk will be resized to the size that you need. And the best way to do that is before you set up the boot for the disk. So if we switch back to showing the Pi stuff on the screen, I'll just show the last piece of the puzzle, which is editing boot command line. Now this is the slightly tricky bit that's not too tricky because you can just mount this on Windows and edit this bit. So
Oh, you literally just say
magic is
changing the route.
Changing the route to dev SDA1, which you can see by firing up Gparted, and you'll see that the device you want is dev SDA, and then dev SDA1 is your hard disk.
And are these devices set up in FS tab automatically for you, essentially by
When
UUID?
you set up in root, actually, I haven't done any FS tab setup for these at all. So if you
No.
don't do that, FS tab.
Yeah, it's created you an FS tab entry. So I guess
Well,
that.
those are the MMC, which is the
Yeah.
SD card by default is set up, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
haven't
good
got
point.
any
Yeah, there
FS
isn't-
tab set up in
isn't,
here. So it
there you go.
may be sensible to do that, but it's not required, as long as you don't try and attach several hard disks, one of which will probably claim dev
Yeah,
SDA, and
Well, that's the problem. If you don't have them kind of assigned by UUID,
Yeah,
they
then they
could
can
shift
pop
around
up
in
as
theory,
various
which
different
is
things.
bad times. But yeah, that's our new SATA adapter. It's an absolute cracker. And
Yep.
use it with your Pi because everybody's got like heaps of these disks kicking around. We got tens of them. It's just
it
like
doesn't have to be an SSD,
SSDs,
it can be just a
non-SSDs.
regular spinning hard drive.
Yeah. Dead handy little add-on.
SSD won't be faster for reasons of USB throughput.
I'd also like to say that we have a minor celebrity in the chat room with Gordon Henderson tuning in.
Yeah.
Of Wiring Pi. Hey, Gordon.
Good to see you, Gordon.
Come and visit sometime.
Yeah. Come. Yeah, we'd love to have you as a guest on the Bilge Tank.
Ooh.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
there's an idea.
So the offer's there if you ever want to come see
You
us
could talk people through soldering.
and bring some bread.
Yeah, definitely bring some
Yeah.
bread.
Gordon does kick-ass baking as well. He's very multi-talented.
Someone was asking about Flotilla, and I just wanted to catch their comment before we went on. Any plans? My wife wants my Flotilla box. Any plans to sell just the box? Literally just the cardboard box. No plans, but drop us an email. Drop us
An email, yeah.
Hey, if you want cardboard boxes, we'll do cardboard.
Early March. Cool. See you then, Gordon.
Early
Yay.
March, wicked.
Oh, I won't be here early March.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure it's when Phil's about, if possible.
Or you can
Yeah,
use them as a
cool.
stand-in for me, but it'd be nice to see him again.
And we shipped about another
been too
100
long.
Flotilla tobaccos today, so that's getting close to release on the shop. Also, as well, I'm just switch back to.
While we're shouting out to people, hi tech guy, hi.
Yeah, on the shop today we have a new VGA dongle.
Might not be listed yet.
It's
Definitely
listed.
today.
It's there. It's on the front page.
Hey, there we
new
go.
products. So we used to have the one that's kind of like the Apple style one, which is a pigtail. Bit chunky, but now we have the slimmer, svelter.
They are so small that I can't imagine that they do anything.
Yeah, but they are. They're fully active
They work.
circuitry and everything. They are
When I
crazy
first
small.
saw
Two good
them,
things about these VGA dongles: they're really slim, and they've got an audio tap on them, so you can get the HDMI audio out from there.
Yeah, which is dead handy. You
Yeah.
want to get it on close up, Phil? So give it a bit of a look.
You're a lovely assistant.
Oh, thank you, Phil.
There we go.
There we go.
Look at
So
that.
your
What
audio
the
tap
hell
is
is
that
this?
3. You can't even see the 3. Oh, yep, there you go. that tiny little hole on the side is your 3.5mm jack connector. There's your VGA in that end, and your HDMI in that end. And it is a little piece of svelte magic.
Get it on the, oh no, there we go. Got a couple coming in. That's nice.
Da-da-da-da.
Okay, so that's now on the Primrose store. If you
£10, I believe.
go to the front page, it's there, £10.
Let's bring it
Job's
up.
a good one.
Let's bring it up.
Comes with a nice little clamshell case as well, which is probably looks just about big enough for a project with something. Don't think a Pi Zero will quite fit in there.
No,
but
but you could definitely build
you do
something
little
into that.
Pac-Man impressions.
Yeah, they're really good, and they seem to work with pretty much every single monitor that we've heard of them being used with, which is much better than a lot of those adapters. This is why it always takes us a while to get these things in, is because the amount of time spent actually finding one that works well and reliably is not inconsequential.
Yeah.
All to pieces.
And then next up, because we're doing accessories, we have probably our favourite little mini keyboard from Re. We stopped these on the store for a while, but thought it was worth a look just because the feature's so great. It's a RF 2.4 gigahertz keyboard, so you don't need any drivers.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, you just plug a dongle in and away you go. But the reason we like this one specifically is because it has a really nice little trackpad. And a lot of these kind of small keyboards, the trackpads are awful.
Yeah.
Like, really awful. Whereas
This one's
pretty
appropriately
decent.
sized.
Yeah.
So as far as you know, the Re also manufacture the Carno keyboards.
Yes,
so this
they
is
were the
basically
OEM,
the
weren't
model it was based on for Carno, customised the hell out of it to
Very
make it
structurally similar to this.
shiny.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
the Bluetooth
this
one,
is
right?
The Bluetooth version.
But the Bluetooth one doesn't have a trackpad and is slightly larger. Slightly more comfortable to
I'll tell
type
you
on
the
because the
one
keys are
thing
bigger.
that bugs me about this is the fact that function is there, and that's where my fingers expect control to be. And that's going to bug me even more.
Yeah.
But it's one of those
I
things
like
you basically have to get used to.
Yeah, and
That's with
you're
any
not going to
keyboard.
use this kind of keyboard for
These
day-to-day
keyboards are so
regular
shiny.
typing. But it is a lovely piece of kit. It's really
Kind
well
of
made.
Child finger size, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
We actually used one of those in the Bilge tank, so our Surface keyboard is one of those keyboards, just because it's Bluetooth and handy.
And of course, the other good thing is in the back there it has a little dongle storage thing. So the dongle for 2.4 gigahertz is included and has a little storage thing. So when you stop using it in your Pi and want to carry it around, you store it back in there, and so
And
it
you
doesn't
don't
get
lose it,
separated. Yeah. So that's dead handy, and it's got a battery. It's got a mini USB charger. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get a cable. So basically, the battery is non-removable.
Yep.
But you get a USB charge cable. So this won't act as a data cable for the keyboard. It's only used to recharge it.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to note with anything that's 2.4 gigahertz style, like keyboard and mouse combos or whatever, is the dongle is permanently paired to the keyboard. So don't lose the dongle because you can't replace it. You have to keep the dongle and keyboard together.
But the great thing is there's no pairing. So if you're doing
Yeah.
kind of headless stuff or anything like that, no
plug and
friction.
play.
Plug it in.
Just plug
Off
it in
you
and
go.
away you go.
Yep.
Conversely, Bluetooth is possible to set up, and you can get it set up in such a way that your keyboard will work from when you initially boot up your Pi, and it will wake it up, and everything will work really hunky-dory. But
It's a pain in the ass, though, isn't it?
It's a
Yeah.
The keyboard tray. It's nice brushed aluminium. For
And as soon as you
Yeah,
switch
the
to another
Re
SD
keyboards
card,
are always quality, aren't they? Do you
Yeah,
want to stick it on
very
the
nice.
stick it on the camera? It's not cheap. These are £21
Fingerprint-tastic.
on our store, but if you want to do kind of like a really portable Pi setup, we think they're the best option, really.
yeah, that's not expensive though for a good keyboard mouse combo.
Well, the thing is, it's a good keyboard. It's not like a really
Yeah.
mushy, cheap, nasty keyboard.
yeah.
And the trackpad is actually really good.
So
It's
you've got
very
the trackpad
usable.
on that end. Oh, I can't hand-eye coordinate here. Ooh, 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 ooh.
There you go.
Little left and right
Yeah.
tap pad, and then there's also left and right mouse click buttons on this side. And then for some reason
Really?
an Apple key.
Well, it's Command
Yeah.
key, Phil. Command key.
Option.
Depends what it is.
Command option.
The
Command option
four-leaf
thing.
clover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So yeah, it's a really nice keyboard if you're looking for a portable one, because it's just like you can slip it down the side of the sofa, slip it under the TV if that's where your Pi's being a media centre or something. They're just dead handy. So well worth a look.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with VGA monitors, there's a bit about it on the chat now, is there's still a lot around, and the cheapest monitors on places like eBuyers are still the VGA ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. And then I think oh no, we've got two more things. I think we've mentioned this last week, but
Yeah.
we will be getting these in stock next week. They are ideal for the Model A or the Pi Zero. With the Pi Zero, you'll need the on-the-go shim. You need like
Yep.
a little adapter.
Little shim there.
Oh yeah, we've got a shim right here. But essentially, this is a 3-port USB hub and Ethernet adapter built into one. So it's really useful for Model A and Pi Zero. It just means that you could have like one of these, you plug it into your project, and you can then plug in your mouse, your keyboard, you can get your network connectivity to do an RPi update or whatever you want to do to it, and then just unplug it again, walk away, and your project can kind of stay in one place, which is much tidier.
So handy for setup on the Model 8 and the Zero.
Again, we tested loads of these. Some of them are made out of cardboard, and some are really good. This is a really good one.
This is a really good
looking
one.
forward to it. I think the stock's landing with us on Tuesday, so we'll get the product up with a Notify Me feature today.
It's completely sealed around the outside.
And yeah, it's
We
rock
showed
solid
this
again.
on the last build show.
We did.
With the fact that
It's worth another look.
it
though,
is
so.
worth it. It's just
Quality
solid
merchandise.
plastic,
Yeah.
and all the internals are slotted in through the bottom, so everything is like, there's no way I could do that any harm at all. Even by grimacing on camera. Oh.
Such grimace.
On the chat, Rogue is saying that for multi-boot onto USB on the Pi, Berry Boot is a good choice.
Oh, I've heard
I
of
think
that.
I've heard
I've not
that
used it
before.
before, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think what I tried was predated Berry Boot by quite a long time, so it probably won't be around, and Berry Boot sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we've got one more thing to show. Yeah, we've got one more thing to show. And it's kind of like a fun one, this one. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a plane nerd, so I like flight tracking, kind of commercial aviation stuff. And these digital TV sticks can actually be used to receive the ADS-B kind of transponder data from aircraft that are flying above you. So we stock one in the shop, and Paul is holding it up right now. It's
Yeah.
just a little.
The great thing about these DVB T sticks is basically they're just a really high speed analog digital converter, which means they're software defined, and they have a software defined radio in there essentially. So what they do is they just filter the signal, choose a sensor frequency, and you can retune it.
Yeah.
And one of the things you can retune it to is, as John says, you can retune it to be a plain transponder.
So
Tracker.
there's some software you need to install, but it's very straightforward. It's about 6-7 commands, and they're all listed on a website that we link to from our shop page. So it's not difficult to get set up.
Yeah.
But once you've done that and you've got the drivers for the kind of Realtek chipset installed, then you can download a program called Dump 1090. That's the frequency at which ADS-B transmissions occur. And run it in this interactive mode, which will basically give you live flight stats for the planes that the little antenna can see. So Paul's got a little antenna over here, it's a little dongle thing. But we put it right over at the edge so it's close to the window as possible. There we go.
Exterminate.
Nice work. So you can see we've got a KLM flight, KLM 947 at 33,975 feet.
Look it up on the internet. Let's see what it's doing.
Let's go. Where are you going? KLM 937 was it? 947.
That keyboard's not going to get you.
That's really not the same keyboard, is it? 947.
This is
Too
why you
many
need to keep your dongle
keyboards.
straight.
That is flying from Amsterdam to Belfast.
And you can see it's right
Slightly
over
delayed.
Sheffield, pretty much.
And yeah, we can see on the map that is pretty much bang above us right now.
Yeah.
But I just love this. It's very nerdy, but it's amazing that you can plug this thing in. I don't know how much they even cost. They're not expensive, and start kind of receiving data from £20 million aircraft that are flying overhead.
Yep.
Very, very cool.
And somebody did a great project on the Pi, didn't they? Where they got this, and then they also got a pan tilt zoom module.
All right.
So they had something that when it saw a flight coming overhead, it would point the camera towards where it was,
Kind of track it.
so you could actually watch the flight, which I thought was amazing with no nefarious applications whatsoever.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do is you can submit your data up to services like FlightAware or Flight Radar 24 and become part of the kind of crowdsourced flight data community, because there's loads of people involved in submitting like their data, because from our location where the antenna is now we won't see much. It might be like 25-mile radius or something. With a good antenna from high ground you might get 100 miles. But if you have enough people doing it, you can basically cover the whole of England. And actually England is pretty well covered, but parts of the world are pretty sketchy for data.
Yeah.
So they all come together, and well, I'll load up Flight Radar and we'll have a look.
See if I can get a strong signal.
Well,
It's like trying to tune in your old TV.
when we move building, I want to put a massive antenna on our roof
Yeah.
and just be able to track loads of flights, because it'd be awesome. I don't want to see this ad. Stop seeing this ad. Oh, flip's sake. Oh,
Just losing signal strength, John. What am I doing wrong?
Don't want this ad. Go away.
Well, there we go. Higher,
Right.
higher. No.
So here you can see Flight Radar 24, and all of this data, all these yellow planes, are basically crowdsourced data from other users of the service who are running little antennas like this. posting their data up to Flight Radar 24 so that it can kind of be crowdsourced into a really usable map. Unfortunately, on the surface, it just doesn't seem to work because I can't browse around.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool.
If I hold the antenna
there
at
we
the
go.
end, the signal strength really goes up.
Does it?
Yeah.
Stop caressing the
Maybe,
antenna.
I wonder if you'd make a good lightning rod as well.
That's pretty good.
You're a wizard, Paul.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
we've got those in the store as well. We haven't actually, we've only really got these in for the plane tracking stuff, so we must try using it as a TV tuner at some point.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's meant to be, but we've never bothered to give it a go.
Yeah, people apparently use them to record live TV, which again is where the hard drive would come in handy, because you don't want to record DVD streams to an SD card. Lord no.
I don't know if you'd even have the throughput for that.
Well, we've got the disc adapter, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Leo says he's doing something similar to this, and he tracks about 1,000 planes a day.
Wow.
That's not bad, is it?
Yep.
There's a lot of planes up there. And Kirby reckons he's getting up to 200 miles away with his flight tracker.
Sweet.
So it's a pretty cool hobby,
Hopefully
and
got a
you
pole
can
standing
contribute to
there,
the, because the nice thing about contributing stuff like Flight Radar 24 is that the traditional flight data service providers charge through the nose for this stuff.
You looked at this, didn't you?
Yeah,
And
I
it
did a
was
long
just-
time ago,
yeah.
and it's like a really old school industry. It's all price on application. They always want to charge huge amounts for the data. So the idea that the crowd comes together and just does it,
Solves
it's
the
kind
problem.
of
Yeah.
awesome. So. We're all for
Sandy's
that.
just called me a big bag of salty water.
Ooh.
Yeah, same to you, Sandy.
You big bag of salt.
I think that's a compliment to a pirate.
Right.
Yeah.
That is fairly pirate.
What
Very,
would you
very
say?
piratical. So yeah, that's kind of cool. I like it a lot. On our product page, there's a link off to the site where you do all the setup. It literally just takes you through the steps. I was doing it while we started the build strength today, so it's not difficult. It's just a case of following the steps in order. Very, very cool.
Yeah, even people who are not John.
Yeah, even people who can cut and paste,
Yep.
which I can.
I reckon I'd have a good chance of that.
But I'm definitely going to have a play with this. I want to do a Learning Portal article to kind of combine this with a Unicorn Hat or something, to get like a visualizer going on, something kind of interesting to watch, or maybe the Scroll Fat or something like
Like
that.
the whole ISS above all.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
With all
It
these
just
kind
grates
of
a finger
planes.
on the
flying
unicorn
around.
hat.
Yeah, you can have a little map of your local area where planes are with height and all
Or even
that.
apply TFT.
Yeah.
And then you have a real map, show the planes flying around. So
Yeah.
it'd be very cool.
And you could prove that guy actually got from Sheffield to London cheaper, well, Sheffield to Stansted, cheaper by flying via Berlin.
Yeah. I think he was going to Cardiff, wasn't he, or something?
No.
Bristol, Birmingham.
Stansted. Sheffield to
Was it?
Stansted.
That was a
Train.
crazy
Sorry,
story.
Stansted.
Don't get me
Yeah.
started about trains.
Why I order?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah.
Folks.
There's some insightful stuff for you to try and think about, and just opening you up into a larger world of how to connect stuff to the Pi
Yes.
and increase current.
The hard drive thing is particularly awesome.
Yeah.
Very excited about
We tried a CD drive. We have a Blu-ray USB CD drive, a Blu-ray drive, if you will. That did not boot up. It was drawing too much power still. So again, things like that and things like 3.5-inch hard drives, they need extra power, extra rails. So
Yeah, 3.5 inch, you need 12-watt power rail as well, which
Yeah.
in theory you should be able to inject separately.
yeah.
But actually, no,
any
you probably
3.5 external
yeah, possibly.
USB drive you could just plug.
We'll, yeah, we might find a solution for that. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a challenge to do.
Oh,
Anyway.
Kirby, how do I get the map up? How do I get the map up?
You have to go to localhost 8080.
Ooh, should we do that? Let's do that.
Let's give it a
Where's the
try.
mouse? Where's the mouse? Oh, Paul, you just moved.
Stop moving it around.
I've been trying to set this Pi up, and Paul keeps moving the display like all over the place.
We've got
It's
so
hilarious.
many screens in here. So
That's the wrong keyboard.
Not even
Too many
including the
screens, too many keyboards.
We've got screens within screens. Oops.
picture in picture.
Am I running it? Do I need to run the -- net?
So let's
command
look back
line.
and see what was actually said earlier.
It's just live debugging.
It was 8080, wasn't it?
Don't know.
Interactive net. Remember to add the net command line switch. Oh, see the output of the network. Did you remember to add the net command line switch?
Do you think I need that for this? I could do that.
You did not. No, it's got nothing.
It'd take a while
Hey.
to.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a map. Here's a
We've
map.
got pictures
Hey, Kirby, you're
and
awesome.
maps. And
Let's just sit here and
clocks.
enjoy the
Oh,
map
cool.
for a bit.
Right.
Right, here we go.
So
This is where we'll
only
be.
going to see stuff in our immediate vicinity. Then.
Basically, yeah.
Otherwise, the map will be empty.
I think we'll have terrible reception because like the dongle's in this room with us.
Right,
Oh
pull
my
finger in the air,
word.
hold
Why
it
is
up.
this drag not working? It's going in the opposite direction.
It's going to be
No, it's going in the same
painfully
direction.
slow
What's going
there.
on?
Well, keyboard keys, like key arrows work. Yeah.
In
In theory, yes. Oh, it's got acceleration. Whee.
That's a nice acceleration. Stop. No, I think we're over at the Arctic or something. Let's reset
the
that.
grey
Let's reset that
arc.
and go again. Yeah, we got some flights coming in there.
Oh,
So,
over Germany. We're not going to see anything over
Is this
here.
Epiphany or is this?
Looks like Epiphany.
It looks like Epiphany, yeah.
Oh, the
This
drag's
is
working now.
This
I think
is
I've got
pretty
some
tall
sort of-
order for Epiphany, though.
It's just
Cannot
about
see
coping,
anything.
Oh, it's showing the flights there.
Waiting to see.
Not seeing any lateral.
Have you given it
data.
our location?
No, it's just what it sees.
Oh, it's got
basically.
lat and long, hasn't it?
So,
they get their
Try and put
location.
it back right on the edge and see if we can get those EasyJet and KLM flights back. Because we're not getting lat and long data through, so we've obviously,
Well,
it
bearing
obviously
in
hasn't
mind
picked up
they
the
are
packets
in
with those
flight and they may have flown out of range.
It's alright, there'll be something. There'll be a
There
plane.
was something coming through.
There'll be a plane
Come on, this is thrilling stuff.
taking people by air.
Come on.
B7ZD.
I cannot get no more cabin.
Oh, come on, you reach further than that.
We've just got a dangle pull out the window. We'll be back in a minute.
Hold me.
You're not even leaning. This is fake.
Come on, go on. Getting no lat alongs yet. Okay.
Hey, if I hold
Oh,
the
oh,
end,
oh.
will that improve the
Signal strength
reception?
32, 33. Getting lots of messages now.
Flight name.
Oh.
Yeah, still not getting
From
any
them, yeah.
latitude or longitude back yet, Kirby.
Darn.
It's coming. Is that frozen? That doesn't seem to be. Oh,
It's just
there we go.
very, very slow.
It seems to invalidate the tiles at the edge back to grey every single time I
We need
zoom.
an antenna like what he used in his tutorial video. Have we got any coat hangers?
Boo. Come on.
Oh.
That's really annoying as well because when we had it set up before, there were like 5 planes listed with the full data there.
Someone called KLM. Can you just do another run around, mate? Fine.
Darn.
Well, we're going to say.
Oh yeah, now give us a signal.
I didn't like being in your hand, you watery salt sack or whatever it was.
It was a low signal strength before.
You worry so
Now it's up to like maybe it's just flying over.
I think it's it's going to be more to do with the movement of the plane.
Yeah.
Use your surface to view it, pie brow. Oh yeah, good plan.
Well, the pie browser works. That's creditable.
Nice job. Kirby should run this show. He's much cleverer than we are.
He has his own show to run.
He has.
Oh, I don't even know what IP address it is, Kirby.
I'll
I'll have to go
config.
dig it up in a minute.
Hmm.
Though
We
to
have
be honest, it's not
several
going to show anything because there's no lat or longs yet. So
That's true.
Yeah.
until we actually have some data, it's game over.
Game over.
Wow, this is great TV. Let's do it.
Oh, now we've
last
got.
one. Come on.
less
BEE7ZE, if that is your real name. No, I'm not sure.
E-breeze.
Search using Bing.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, that explained why the search results are so
okay.
terrible.
Yep. Okay, we're just gonna run that.
Yeah, never mind.
Well, you're not watching us.
While we're twiddling our thumbs, you can like.
Subscribe,
And comment.
comment.
We should really start responding to those comments.
We need to do
Like.
letter shapes.
Hey, is this the right way
I
around?
have to be subscribed. What's the worst thing ever?
that
Let's
an
never do that again. All right.
Yeah.
See you next week, folks.
See you next week.
See you next week.